I'm back with another reaction video. The reaction videos I dropped yesterday, they were some old school reaction videos that I made. And yeah, but like I said, I'm back with another video. And this is how the Suns lost everything. And 100%, it's gonna be 100% facts. So let's just get this started. 100% facts. 100% facts.
Snappies.com. Design your own custom snapbacks and hats.
What's good, fellas? My name is Andy, and with the news recently about the Eric Bledsoe trade, I feel like it would be the perfect time to talk about what in the world the Suns have been doing for the past 6 or 7 years. And Bledsoe just got traded for Greg Monroe, who's an expiring contract this year, and a first-round pick, which might not even be in the lottery. That sounds pretty bad when you put it that way, but Bledsoe's trade value got killed already, and the Suns had no leverage at all because every other team knew that they were going to get rid of him regardless. So, I mean, they were just stuck in a difficult position, and even if they could have gotten a better offer, it wouldn't be that much better anyway. Alright, anyway, how did the Suns get into this situation? Let's reflect and take a look through the last couple of years. The last time the Suns made the playoffs was in 2010, with Nash and Stoudemire still there. And after that playoff run, Amar'e decided to sign with the Knicks. 2 seasons later, and Nash would leave as well to join the Lakers, and they've been trying to rebuild ever since then. But the thing is, during this rebuilding period, they were looking really good at one point and exceeded all expectations. This was in the 2013-14 season where they won 48 games and nearly made the playoffs. The team was centered around Goran Dragic and Eric Bledsoe, with some other promising young players like their lottery pick Alex Len and the Morris twins too. Gerald Green also had a breakout year this season, and PJ Tucker became a solid 3-and-D player for them. This team went 48-34 in the regular season, and their 2 best players, Dragic and Bledsoe, were 27 and 24 years old respectively. It looks like they were maybe 1 or 2 pieces away from being able to contend with the top teams in the league. And to be honest, it was very surprising at the time that they were actually this good. They made some great trades to rebuild this team. This 2013-14 Suns season even shocked the entire Suns organization. The front office didn't really know what to do, but they were pleasantly surprised at the results. So they continued to build around the Dragic and Bledsoe duo. Except it didn't work out too well. They signed both of the Morris twins to pretty good contracts. The 2 of them combined only made about $13 million a year, and they were 2 solid, versatile role players who could do a bit of everything. They acquired point guard Isaiah Thomas from the Kings and signed him to a 4-year, $27 million contract. And now they had a 3-headed beast of a point guard rotation. But the problem was, Isaiah is not what they needed. Don't get me wrong, it was a great contract for the team, and now they had a very dynamic playmaker off the bench. But they never addressed the main problem that the team had, which was their need at center, as they were a bad rebounding team and they had a lot of trouble protecting the paint. Miles Plumlee and Alex Len were not cutting it, and getting Thomas led to a chain of events that saw everything fall apart. In the middle of the 2014-15 season, the Suns were getting all of the attention around the time of the trade deadline. Not for a good thing either. Their record wasn't as good as they expected, and they made questionable trade after questionable trade that made no sense at all in hindsight. Well, not even in hindsight. At the time, it was just as puzzling. So basically, the point guard rotation of Bledsoe, Dragic, and Thomas led to a lot of unhappiness in the locker room. They couldn't play together on the floor at the same time because their defense would be awful. They were 26th in the league in opponents' points per game and 17th in defensive efficiency, which are both really bad if you're trying to be a playoff team in the West. One of them would be defending a small forward or something if all of them played at the same time, and that didn't make any sense at all. So as a result, this will lead to one of them getting benched in the 4th quarter, which they obviously did not like because they all believed that they were good enough to be on the floor. Dragic was the most vocal about what was going on. On February 18th, 2015, a couple days before the trade deadline, he stated that "I don't trust them anymore," referring to the Suns organization. "I don't feel comfortable with my situation. It's just different. Standing in the corner, it's not my game. I see that we're not going in the right direction. That's why I take action to try to put myself in a better position." This was referring to how Bledsoe and Thomas were taking the bulk of the playmaking duties, even though the Suns management probably told Dragic that he will be the primary option. To be fair though, all three of those guys at the time were pretty much on the same level. Bledsoe was the best defender of the three, but Dragic and Thomas were both better shooters. Dragic was a better passer than Thomas, but Thomas was better at drawing fouls and creating his own shot. There was really nobody who was strictly better than the other, so the fact that all three of them believed that they were the best was reasonable. So anyway, right after Dragic publicly demanded a trade, he was traded 1 day later. So at least that was convenient. The Suns traded him for 2 future first-round picks, which I believe they haven't been used yet up until now. And Danny Granger, who never played a single game with them. Then, right after trading away Dragic, they, for some reason, wanted Brandon Knight from Milwaukee. It didn't make any sense because by trading away Dragic, everyone believed that the Suns were trying to move away from this type of triple point guard rotation. Adding Brandon Knight, who was another point guard trying to prove how good he was, wasn't going to help their situation. So then, what do? They trade away Isaiah Thomas, who was arguably the best scorer on that team, even though he was coming off the bench. I don't think I need to explain it. This trade was just terrible. The Suns got back Marcus Thornton, who'd play a total of 9 games for them, and the first-round pick that eventually turned into Marquise Chris. Which I guess isn't too bad, but when you consider that Isaiah was locked into one of the best contracts in the entire league for 4 years, it was a pretty bad trade, especially in hindsight. A few seasons later, Isaiah would lead the Celtics to the first seed in the East and average 29 points a game. But for the Suns, what are they left with? After the trades, they meddled in mediocrity for a couple of seasons, with Bledsoe getting injured a lot. Brandon Knight was playing very inconsistently, like how he usually is, and the Morris twins ended up getting into a lot of problems. This led to a couple of 20-win seasons, and the bright spot from their successful 2013-14 season is all but gone. Both of the Morris twins were also traded away for basically a bag of potato chips and a Diet Pepsi. Over the years and up until now, they've managed to acquire some good talent in Chris, Booker, Josh Jackson, TJ Warren, but I mean, if you look at their young talent compared to the talent from other teams like the Bucks, T-Wolves, Nuggets, or Sixers, for example, it doesn't look great right now. It doesn't help that they traded away Dragic, Thomas, and Bledsoe for basically peanuts. But you know, the circumstances were not in their favor anyway, and they affected the trades as well. At the end of the day though, the Suns era after Nash and Stoudemire left has been kinda uneventful. Besides Booker's 70-point game last season, nobody really cares about them unless you're a Suns fan. There are better teams with better young prospects who are more fun to watch, and unless someone makes a huge leap, I honestly can't see them making the playoffs anytime soon. But I don't know, maybe they'll be bad enough this season so that they can get the #1 pick and draft Michael Porter Jr. or Marvin Bagley. But the chances of that happening don't seem very promising right now, especially with teams like the Mavs, Kings, and Bulls and Hawks basically just winning the tank battle. That's it for this video, everyone. I hope the Suns are able to recover and become a good team soon.
What I'm gonna talk about, what the Suns need to do. They have no chance this year. But yeah, they have no chance this year, so they should just play terribly. Worse than they already are. They should just play terribly. And try to battle all the other weak teams out of the conversation and get the first pick. That's what I would do. But yeah, if you liked the video, or if you enjoyed it or whatever, subscribe. Do that now. So yeah.